Good evening. Thanks for joining us on TCM. The name's Mankiewicz. Ben Mankiewicz. Benjamin Frederick Mankiewicz. My middle name is for my godfather, Frederick Hacker. Well, only once, that's not really relevant. We're in the middle of another night of conspiratorial political thrillers. We're doing this every Wednesday in November. While we may not have the most famous movie spy of all time, James Bond, whose middle name I don't know, we have a quality espionage picture ahead with a lead character defined in many ways by the lack of his James Bondness. By the way, how much less cool would Bond be if he had always included his middle name? And you are? Asks the beautiful woman, who's, probably a spy. It's Bond, comes the reply. James Kyle Bond. Anyway, the character in our movie represents a deliberate attempt to move away from the glamour and the refined sophistication of 007 to deliver a more plausible story closer to film noir. This is from 1965 with Michael Caine leading the way in the Ipcress file. The story begins with a messy bit of business on a train. Caine is Harry Palmer, a former British Army officer now working for the Ministry of Defense, a man plucked away from his mundane surveillance assignment to investigate what happened on the train and why it happened. Right away, we get that Harry Palmer is no James Bond. He's hardly like any other spy audiences had seen. He's also not typically British. Like American spies, he takes coffee over tea and prefers a shot of whiskey over a shaken martini. He's also a loner with solid disdain for his superiors. But to make him sexy, he does wear glasses, because everyone knows glasses are considered incredibly masculine and quite sexy. The Ipcress file is based on a 1962 best-selling novel by Len Deighton, came out around the same time as the first Bond picture, Dr. No, and caught the attention of one of Bond's co-producers, Harry Saltzman. Saltzman wanted to bring the Ipcress file to the screen. He just needed to find the right actor to play the lead. Fate waved its huge hand when Saltzman encountered Caine in a restaurant. Saltzman had been impressed by Caine in the 1964 historical epic Zulu. Caine just happened to be reading the Ipcress file and jumped at Saltzman's offer to star in the adaptation, which also directly led to Caine getting his big breakthrough part, the lead in Alfie, which came out the next year. I'll explain more about that after we see the film. This one's from 1965, directed by Sidney J. Furie, also with Nigel Green, Guy Dolman, and Sue Lloyd, plus a score by frequent Bond film composer John Barry. This is the Ipcress file. The Ipcress Files, considered one of the best British spy thrillers ever made, quickly spawned a couple of sequels, Funeral in Berlin from 1966, Billion Dollar Brain from 1967. Michael Caine starred in all three as Harry Palmer and reprised the role in the mid-90s for a pair of made-for-TV movies. But Caine's distinct anti-James Bond character didn't immediately click with everyone. Caine said years later, "The first review I read was, here we have 003.5. Studio Suits at the Rank organization, which distributed the picture in Europe, told Caine, there has never been a leading man since Harold Lloyd who had glasses, and he was a comedian. But Caine, who wore glasses off-screen, insisted on keeping all four eyes in the film. He was more like a real spy, said Caine, an ordinary guy who you wouldn't look at twice in the street. The Ipcress File was a critical film for Michael Caine. Producer Harry Saltzman had total confidence in him, offering him a long contract, even giving the relatively unknown actor star billing. Moreover, another filmmaker, Louis Gilbert, got a sneak peek at the rough cut of the Ipcress File. Gilbert had been struggling to find the lead for his next project about a charming, skirt-chasing scoundrel in swingin' London, Alfie. Gilbert immediately knew Caine would be perfect. The 1-2 punch from these two movies shot Michael Caine to stardom. Coming up, a Soviet police investigator suspects the trail of evidence in a gruesome triple murder leads straight to the Kremlin. Gorky Park is next on TCM.
Next on TCM, Gorky Park, then Failsafe, and later, the 39 Steps. TCM is your stairway to heaven tonight.